Research has to be continuous. If we do not do research and bring out new crop varieties, farmers are going to suffer.
The Cocoa Research Institute of Nigeria, CRIN, was established in Ibadan, Oyo State, on 1st December 1964 as a successor autonomous research organization to the Nigerian Substation of the defunct West African Cocoa Research Institute, WACRI. Its mission is to apply modern science to enhance the production of some major cash crops in Nigeria by qualified staff, as well as provide the required research and development for Nigeria's agricultural development. The scope of CRIN research activities was further enlarged in 1975 by the Agricultural Research Institute Establishment Act to include cashew and tea. Consequently, CRIN today has mandates to conduct research on 5 crops, namely cocoa, kola, coffee, cashew, and tea throughout the country.
CRIN is the only institute that has the mandate to carry out research and development on 5 major economic crops in Nigeria. And these are cocoa, cashew, kola, coffee, and tea. Cocoa ranks as number 1 in terms of crops that are contributing to the Nigerian GDP in terms of foreign exchange. So that is why these 5 crops are very important, and carrying out research on them are also very important.
CRIN maintains bilateral relationships with international organizations that deal in cocoa and other mandate crops. So also, it has linkages with other national agricultural research institutes, state and national agencies, NGO and farmers and other stakeholders through which its technologies are disseminated. The Governing Board, Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria, and the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Natural Resources oversee the institute. The institute has established and sustains 6 substations across the country, where the mandate crops of the institute can be economically cultivated. These are 5 experimental stations located all over the country. Okundi in Cross River State for Robusta coffee, Mayoselbe in Taraba State for cocoa and Robusta coffee, Kaba in Kogi State for Robusta coffee, Ugbenu in Anambra State for cashew, and Onishere in Ondo State for cocoa.
Our mandate is to conduct research on our mandate crops. Sometimes when you conduct research just in a location, you cannot beat your chest as to the validity of such a trial. So these substations at least afford us the opportunity of having multi-locational experimental sites. And it makes it very, very easy for our researcher. More than that, the farmers, that's our major stakeholders. Instead of coming to the headquarters for their planting material, they just get it in the nearest substation to them.
To ensure the smooth running of research activities in all these locations, the engineering department is in place to provide infrastructural support.
Our function is just to provide these maintenance services and to also support the mandate of the institute. Also, we have these support services for direct research in terms of having implements that will drive the research that is being done here, like maybe constructions and fabrication. We have 6 substations in the country scattered around, And so we provide maintenance of reserved vehicles to these locations. Then also we have quarters where you have your research scientists stay. We have the duty to maintain them. So that's basically what we do here.
In spite of inadequate resources and given the low level of funding of research in Nigeria, the Institute, in the last 57 years of its existence, has been able to achieve the following. Nigeria is a leading player in the global cocoa industry, being the fourth largest producer and covering 6.5% share of global production. CRIN is at the forefront of research ensuring that farmers have improved varieties and best management practices for optimum yield.
Before Nigeria discovered petroleum, cocoa happened to be number one foreign exchange any product for Nigeria. One of the challenges in the past why the crop was neglected is long gestation period. For a cocoa farmer, before you start earning from cocoa, you have minimum of 5 years. Between 5 and 7 years, cocoa will start bearing. CRIN as research institute, we offer about 20 years to develop new varieties of cocoa called TC series. This has greatly helped to reduce the long gestation. It has been reduced to 18 months.
Since the quality of cocoa production determines its premium price in the international market, with its state-of-the-art laboratory breeding for high quality through genetic improvement and training farmers on good management practices at CRIN is equally essential.
The quality of Nigerian cocoa has been going down due to bad practices from the farmers' end, down to the processor, down to the exporters. As a result of this, the consumers in the Western world thought it right that the best thing is to tackle this problem from the source, that is origin of this cocoa. So when we are doing our breeding work, we bring it down here, we evaluate the flavor analysis of that variety that we are developing before we can release it to farmers. At the same time, we allow the exporters and processors to bring their samples into this laboratory for processing, as to determine the flavor quality of their chocolate, of their liquor, of their cake before they are sold out. And of course, that will offer them higher price at the international market.
Kola. In Nigeria, Kola maintains its significance to various groups and cultures. Besides its economic prospects, it also often assumes a form of spirituality, royalty, and authority, thereby emphasizing its continuous relevance within the country. On the international scene, the demand for cola is notable from countries like the United States of America, India, New Zealand, Brazil, and Australia. To achieve better quality cola, CRIN has developed new vegetative propagative techniques that has improved Nigeria's cola production to more than 200,000 metric tons since 2011.
Cola is very unique and important to Nigerian economy. On the average, a cola tree produces 250 nuts in a whole year. That is very low. It's a major challenge. Gestation period of cola is between 6 and 7 years. We have 2 clonal materials that have been developed. Gestation period now is 4 years, between 3 and 4 years, start fruiting compared to 6 to 7 years gestation period. So these 2 clones have been able to yield between 3,000 and 10,000 nuts per tree. With that now, if we have external funds, we have bodies that are ready to collaborate with the Institute. There are a lot of things we'll be able to develop, even hybrids that could even fruit within 2 years. And in the end, once production is increased, definitely the supply chain will also be positively affected, and other countries will also, make demand for Nigerian cola.
Coffee production and processing is native to the African continent. The crop may be grown for its seeds or beans, which are roasted, ground and sold for brewing coffee. Besides the production and processing, CRIN's coffee marketing campaign strategy has yielded positive results.
Once you take coffee, you are a rich person. It's a golden cup. And it's as a result of the health benefits that accrue to coffee. For any crop to be able to grow very well, no matter the genetic content, if the environment is not suitable, then the crop will not be able to show its potential. And that is what we are working on in Cocoa Science of Nigeria. We improve on the genetic content, at the same time start to have better yield. At the same time, for that better yield to be able to come up, then the environment must be controlled. So these are the advantages of our breeders working tirelessly, daily, to make sure that we satisfy our farmers.
Nigeria is a major and growing player in the cashew industry with rising market share in global cashew production, although the crop was not intended for economic purpose but for erosion control initially. Today, with an annual average production increase of 5%, the industry is projected to have an upward production of about 300,000 metric tons of cashew by 2030. CRIN offers the delivery of improved varieties and planting methods that assist the cashew crop to be economically viable, with about $160 million in Nigeria's export market.
The crop used to be something people don't really reckon with originally, but now it has gotten serious ascendancy. That we can now say after cocoa, I think cashew more or less was following very closely. The thing is that the use of clonal materials, that is where we are going. So a time is coming that we don't need to give any nuts out, be giving grafted material to our farmers. Maybe for nut, you take about 3 years before flowering and production. But with grafting, a year plus, your farm is already fruiting.
Nigeria produces black tea with the CTC method, labeled Highland tea. The total land area planted to tea is 1,200 hectares. The average annual national production is 1,640 tons, which meets only 10% of domestic need. Opportunities thus exist for further local and foreign investment in the Nigerian tea industry.
One problem of tea farming we've also identified as a nation is low productivity. Yes, if you look at records, we score at the outturn, the production capacity as a nation is very minimal. At least I think we are looking at about 1,740 tons per hectare per year, which is just too small as a country. So what we are trying to do as an institute is to see how we can upscale the production of tea. We are trying to expand it through lowland tea cultivation, because we know that tea thrives well in the upland. Why? Because of the limiting environmental condition. But now we want to see how we can extend cultivation of tea to the lowland, so that we will have enough tea plantations, so that at the end of the day, we're able to boost the production capacity of the nation.
All the mandate crops of CRIN are commodity crops. Research efforts in capacity building of stakeholders on these crops have brought increase in productivity and ultimate gross production of these crops, leading to a direct increase in the foreign exchange earning of Nigeria.
You see, if you don't train your staff, you can't expect the best from them. We have a threefold activities in the training department. Number one activity is the capacity building for our staff. So some of these areas involve training them to meet up to the challenges and expectations of the government, of our stakeholder, of the country. So then the number two, you see, you are a pupil scientist if you don't have PhD. You are just a pupil scientist. So if you need a quality research work, there must be training. So they need to be trained to meet up with the expectation that is required in their scientific output. So then the category 3 is to train our stakeholders. We have stakeholders, farmers, industries. We have some people that pick up our work. We train them on best practices, good agricultural practices. Take for example, a farmer who grow cocoa 15 years ago and is managing with 200 kilogram in a 2-hectare farm. What is that? Now, by the time we introduce the new varieties, that these are best good agricultural practices, in that 2-hectare farms, CRIN can guarantee him 3 to 4 tons. The farmer smile to the bank. We are now adding to the gross domestic product of the whole country.
The economic section, we do economic research on our mandate crops and everything to make the welfare of the farmers good in terms of increasing their income, their livelihood. Also, we develop business plans in the economic section. We do field surveys, we do market surveys, and we also train because some of our farmers, they don't know how to keep records. So all these, we train them on record keeping, grouping, and so many other aspects. The extension section is primarily to disseminate information to farmers, research results. Also, we have some adopted schools where we also extend the developed technologies of the Institute.
Climate change is one of the new threats that farmers are facing in today's world. However, scientists at CRIN are striving to develop innovative solutions to mitigate these problems.
Essentially, if there are no problems, we can't talk about research. Our research here are farmer-driven. We have developed technologies for establishing all our crops before now. But just suddenly, because of climate change, we now have farmers having problems with establishment. When they carry their crops to the farm, the crops don't survive. Which even they will have applied all technologies that they have. But because of the climate change, you rarely see good success on the farm. So one of the things that we have been able to identify some drought-tolerant varieties of cocoa that we are now recommending for farmers.
When you talk about genetic improvement, you are talking about adding value to that material. When you have material that are high yielding, that are resistant to pests and diseases, material that have a very higher flavor quality, material that are precocious, it means you are adding value to some material because by the time you will be giving this, you give this material to farmers. The end result is that we have a better material that will be good for health, that will also attract higher income, both for farmers and the industries.
The essence of crop protection is for us to protect those mandate crops and to prefer solutions, identify them, then study them to know their biology, or they call it bioecology. Then afterwards, you recommend the control options that can, bring down the pest problem to a barest minimum, whereby a farmer or anybody along the value chain, there is post-harvest handling too. Anybody along the value chain will break even on the business.
The Institute also have innovative farming systems to help farmers stabilize their income in the early stages of growing some of those cash crops during the waiting period.
You hardly see any farmer planting a sole crop, especially our mandate crop, cocoa, Kola, coffee, cashew and tea. These 5 mandate crops, when you say farming system, we do what we refer to as means cropping, so that we will enhance the standard of living of the farmer by putting money into their pocket before the mandate crop, the main crop, start bearing, especially at early stage of field establishment. For example, cocoa will take 18 months or 2 years before they start bearing pods. And when the farmer intercrop with our mandate crop, they'll be able to generate money, and then through that, they'll be able to equally put money into their pocket, feed themselves, their family.
Additionally, all the crops are industrial crops for large, medium, and small-scale industries that can contribute significantly to the industrial development of Nigeria with diverse innovations in value addition that are ready for the market, thereby creating employment for rural and urban populations.
If you cannot develop a product, you don't think of having it in the international markets. Our product now, we have developed them,
We have carried out the quality assessments as we have. Some of our products, we need good packaging. The products are very good, excellent, but if we see entrepreneurs that are interested, they can fine-tune the packaging to their own demand. We are not really to go into commercial, but we are to really, hunt the talents in those crops, bring them out, and give to people who are interested to commercialize them.
CRIN relies on its human resource with a total staff strength of about 925, comprising 605 senior staff and 320 junior staff.
If you look at admin is the heartbeat of an organization. Without admin, research alone cannot function. We have the staff strength that is capable to bring out reasonable research for development of the nation. And the welfare of staff is being taken seriously in CRIN. And this welfare are followed judiciously. So it's part of what is motivating the staff.
Although success is not without challenges, strategic planning, budgeting, and management of funds have been the keys to successes and impacts made so far.
Part of our responsibilities is to plan, we articulate, and we prepare infrastructural and research needs of the institutes, at least those ones that could help in achieving our mandates. We'll submit those plans to the budget committee, which will now incorporate it into the yearly plan budget of the institutes. We also propose short and long-term plans of the institutes. Apart from doing that, I carry out my research, like I said, on integrated pest management, things that would help to solve some of the problems on ground in terms of pathological problems of our mandate crops.
What we do basically is to guide the institute to ensuring that we provide financial advice, provide guidance, avoiding financial pitfalls to the executive director, ensuring that the core mandate of the institute is not deviated from. And of course, research, we deal with a lot of funds, donor funding, counterpart funding, budgetary capital and research allocations. And then I can unequivocally say that we are not doing badly at all. We are doing fairly well financially speaking.
When we talk about finance, we are the life wire of the institute. Anybody that requests for fund, either on research, either contractors, either to buy certain things in the institute, to whom it doesn't delay, provided there is fund. So as soon as we have fund, definitely all the requests will just go like that. No delay in payment.
The institute is also equipped with physical and virtual libraries to facilitate knowledge sharing.
The department is the heart of the institute. Basically, this department supports the research activities of the institute. All the 5 mandate crops which we have been given by the federal government to work on. And not only that, the department is in charge of a website of the institute. So we upload resources on the website so that CRIN will have a visibility to the entire world. The work has been done before. Since the existence of the institute, they are domiciled in our department. We can give it out in form of print format for whosoever want to use those resources. Farmers come round to the institute to look for how they can benefit from those resources. And when they come to the institute, they visit this department to be able to solve their problems on the field.
CRIN continues in its efforts to serve farmers and other stakeholders with quality delivery of its research impact in all its mandate crops.
With our mandate crops, we want to continue to produce new varieties of these crops. We also want to be able to distribute these new varieties planting materials to farmers. We also want to boost production in terms of increase in the yield of these mandate crops, and this will also lead to increase in export earnings of the country. We want to continue to support all the various government interventions in terms of job creation by attracting youth into agriculture, especially our mandate crops. And lastly, we want to be a one-stop shop for solution to all the problems of farmers of our mandate crop.